Thank you everyone for can everyone hear me well, yeah? Hopefully. Okay, cool. Thank you very much for being here. Today, my lovely wife and I are going to speak about what was about
Intolerance.
the tolerance of others. Tolerating others would be, as far as I'm concerned, right now. I don't know, actually. It's just a subject, really, honestly. But let's say, I don't know. I wouldn't know what to say about it, actually. It's just, it doesn't mean anything, actually. It's could be accepting, could be accepting others, could be just like respecting others, because sometimes they're freaking annoying, and I don't know, it can be many things. And it's just, well, how life goes sometimes, it can be just some people can be annoying, can have a lot annoying relationship with people at work, with friends, family, and so tolerating, where is the line that you draw between basically what you want, I guess, in a given situation with someone, and what you will accept of someone else and not, basically. And that's it, really. There's no magical, I would say. There is no magical technique or something that would, make it all right with so-called people, because those people are in your head anyway. So there you go. That's what I gotta say about it now. But maybe Amy has something else to say. I don't know.
Well, I like how this topic came up. So Max runs one-to-one weekends.
Meaning we had someone at home for the whole weekend. He left literally just an hour ago, a bit more.
And we asked him, what question he would have, because we were both like a bit brain dead.
Yeah, to find a topic for this for today.
And his question was around tolerance for other people. And I really liked the question, because it's when you're no longer searching, you're almost just reflecting on your own thoughts and memories of an experience, which isn't what being awake is. It's my memory of something that happened, which is literally a thought. So being tolerant means that I have to like everybody, which is a thought. And it also means that I think all people are likable. It also, which again is a thought. But there's also contingent to that statement for me, is this idea that you have to be a good person. And being a good person also means you're tolerant of everyone. You like everybody. You can work with everybody. I think if anybody's reading the news, you can see that not everybody's working together at the moment at a political level. Regardless of your politics, you can see that not everybody is working together. So there is no tolerance. There is a lack of tolerance, because we're all individuals wandering around. The other part for me, again, is, and it's settling on this idea of an opinion, that there's a relationship and that there's a somebody to be tolerant with. I think I said last week, like, to help other people, to make life easy, I call Max my husband. But to say we have a relationship, to me, is quite odd, because there is no Max. There is no Amy. the mind has a perception of Max, and the mind has a perception of Amy, but that's the mind, that's not me. The mind creates this illusion. In the same way, the mind creates an illusion of the other person, and the mind creates the illusion of a tolerance of somebody else. But what's happening is actually you're just getting really irritated, right? Somebody's doing something really annoying.
I like it, yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Normally you hate this.
Yeah, I know I do.
Oh. Okay, now I'm going to try and... Okay, there we go. So there's this idea that I can change perception, the Max can change his perception that this is irritating. That he has
It's not
to.
irritating.
You're ruining my example.
Yes,
you're ruining my example.
Is that irritating?
Yes.
Can you change our opinion?
No.
See, that works.
But it's also this idea that it has to change. And that is the conflict. Right there. That's the conflict.
Yep.
Is that it has to be different. All of that energy pent up in trying to make something different. If someone's intolerable, they're intolerable. If someone is tolerable, they're tolerable. But it changes in an instant because there is no personality. There is no behavior. There is only a habit. My accent is an English accent. I don't think I'll lose my English accent. I will try and pretend that I have a French accent every now and again. But my accent is English. My background, brought up English. But I'm not English. I was born, my body was born in England. I'm not English. My accent is English, but I'm not English. All of the projections that you can have on me when I say English is a projection of an idea of what an English person is. And I'm certain hundreds of thousands of people in the world will go, I can't tolerate the English, because they will never say what they're really thinking. So just as a generalization. All of that again comes to your projection, your mind's projection. You've got an experience, you've learned an experience. You then apply that experience to others. It's the same as being cavemen, where you've learned that this type of red berry is poisonous, but this type of red strawberry is delicious. It's as simple as that. The mind likes to overcomplicate it. People like to teach you the idea of good and bad. People like to teach you the idea of a societal structure for us to be able to live with one another. You have to love everyone. To go to heaven, we must love everyone and be tolerant and be peaceful. But how can you be peaceful with somebody who punches you in the face? Would you be peaceful? Would you do the Jesus and turn the other cheek, say, go on, smack me the other side?
Quite like it, actually.
What, you want to be smacked around?
No, I quite like that idea of turning the other
And
cheek.
the other cheek.
It makes perfect sense, actually. It actually makes perfect sense.
Okay, come on, give me your argument.
Well, turning the other cheek, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then your assailant right in front of you has got literally all the power, all the possibility to hurt you.
Okay.
While in front of him or her, there's literally helplessness, innocence. Literally. you turn the other cheek without so much as anything hatred, without even tempting the other, without it's pure, look, just like whatever happens, happens, without any judgment, control, nothing at all. Person right in front of you, highly likely will not hit you again. If they do, they really go to fucking hell because they've got really pure helplessness right in front of them and they see it. If they don't see it, then they're blind and they are in hell already. And then you do take a second pressure in the face. Yeah, that's a risk. But I really like that. It makes perfect sense. You want to talk about peace in the world? You want to talk about people? You trigger me. I like it. That works. That gives the best conversations. If you want to talk about peace in the world, you want to talk about. I mean, you want to see the world because I do want to see the world be a better place. Do you know what I mean? Literally, not you know. I don't want the human race to go to waste. Because the planet won't, I don't think so, but we will. You know, I don't think there's a problem for the planet. It will just, get rid of us in a way or another. If we haven't killed ourselves first anyway. But yeah, so if you don't want that to happen, then yeah, I think actually that is literally the way forward. Is literally, well, turning the other cheek is literally a way forward because then that's pure innocence. That's beautiful. That's love. But then again, yeah, there you go. That's just my opinion on it. I mean, it's obviously just an opinion. That's the thing, because it's, it's not. There's no truth in that way. There's no reality in that way. There's no one truth, one in that way. So it's just an opinion. It's just a thought. But I quite like to see that happening. And if we don't do that, who will? Everyone who will.
So
So that's just my opinion.
this kind of takes me back. Sorry, tangent.
So from tolerance to turning the other cheek to, and then Charlie, then sorry.
Quick tangent. So, for me, I love the idea that what Max says is turn the other cheek and innocence. Being open. I was physically abused as a child. I had no defense. There's no turning the other cheek because there was no pause. There was no pause in the attack. It didn't matter that I was the child and my father was, 40 years older than me. Same with my brother, 15 years older than me. And my other brother, 18 years older than me. All significantly stronger than me. But the attack didn't stop. The turning of the cheek was irrelevant. My behavior in that moment was irrelevant. The physical attack still occurred.
But that's my point, down in hell.
But
Go on, sorry.
There was an interesting, various different circumstances led me to have a conversation with my father, 50 years old, and say, Dad, why did you hit me? And his comment was, I can't control the rage. And this, for me, is what comes down to it, is we as a society can be taught, shown that violence is a solution. And it's not, it's a learned behavior. So if we all learn peace, if we learn compassion, so I guess to the original question, it's not necessarily trying to be tolerant of other people. It's to remember that whenever we look at each other, you're actually looking at yourself. It's when you're looking at yourself, it just happens to be a different body, life experience than you've had yourself. and to have compassion because you're looking at yourself and that body life experience that's opposite of yours might be going through hell right now, as Max said. My dad was brought up in a violent home and he was taken away from his parents, which at that point in time was unheard of. So I can't imagine what made that normality for him to the point where he would replicate that behavior, because he knew what he was doing was wrong, but he didn't know how to control it. And this is something that we can evolve to. You recognize the self, you see the self, you know you're not the body or the mind, and to look at others and see yourself.
Thank you.
Charlie. Hey, Charlie. Sorry.
I knew that.
I'm sorry, I'm going to stop. It always goes through my head.
You can keep going with it. I like it.
Hey, Charlie, buddy.
Hey. Yeah, so I totally support the idea to turn the other cheek, you know, because when someone is doing something to you, he's not actually doing this to you, you know? When someone acts of violence, he's doing it to himself, you know? And like the tolerance, the compassion is to see that there is no fight actually. It's just one person suffering and you're absolutely not a part of it if you don't want to be. You can be a part of it, but you can also not, you know? And it's funny because in the meetings, we have so many people like who suffers trauma, and trauma is just like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like they did this to me.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you keep going with this idea.
Exactly.
I experienced it again past week, because like in my relationship it was a wild mess, and you know, I was suffering. So you know how ego works. I was looking for guilty persons, like you are guilty of my suffering, you are guilty of my suffering, and I was going like on and on and on and on and on, and then I started to experience some anguish and such feelings, and I was like, what the fuck? I'm not hurt. Why am I acting like that? I'm actually not hurt. And then boom, it's just deactivated. It was gone. I wasn't
Beautiful.
hurt. No one hurt me. And actually, I was the one hurting myself because
Yeah.
I couldn't listen here. When I did, it was over. Okay, okay, I just want this. Poof. You know, it's funny. I have the feeling that I'm experiencing more and more the like something like I like to call for fun the tyranny of the heart, you know? Like there is only one way and you gotta find it. If you don't find this way, it's not the right choice anyway, and you will yeah. I feel like an animal, you know, like boom, not like this, not here, not here. Oh yeah, here is good. Like the carrot and the switch we say in French. I don't know if it's the same in English. The
Carrot and the stick.
Yeah, carrot and stick.
yeah, and the stick, yeah. And yeah, when you look at yourself and you know that no one is doing this to you, you can also see it in other person. Like you can really feel real compassion. Like, oh, they're not violent, they are suffering, you know? And it's like, oh no, they are suffering, poor people. No, just they are suffering.
That's what it is.
It's not my business. I can only say, oh, mate, you are suffering. Wake up.
Yeah.
Wake up. Wow.
No, 100% with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Literally, I've got nothing to add to that. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it solves so many things. So many things. Because I must say, like, life is really chaotic, so it's good to have like simple things in mind like that to experience the chaos in like in a relaxed way.
Yeah.
You know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
More.
Yep. Really, yeah, absolutely.
For me, the interesting addition to that is the idea of self. Is actually I've been reading a few different books about it recently. The concept of self is actually a fairly recent one in human history. So in the last 100, 200 years, people started to talk about the self, as in you as an individual. And within that, what we've done is we've created this space of there's a me. That me is important. That me must experience life in such a way. But then tackled to this is how psychology has changed how we talk about things. So I know a lot of lovely spiritual talkers, and they'll talk about things like generational trauma, and how the experience of world wars creates a certain experience of a parent with a child, which is then flows through the generation. And all of this comes back to this concept, this idea of there as a self. So you're born, you're told you're a someone. You're told you need to be a someone. You're told you need to achieve. You need to achieve to be happy. You need to have a house to be happy, a relationship, children, a dog, a white picket fence. But what people some people can have is you have this crisis point moment. And during this crisis point moment, something happens in your life that suddenly makes you realize none of that shit made you happy. It could be something really awful happened to you. So I had a wake up moment getting divorced. And it made me realize it's hilarious. I actually found a letter that I wrote to my ex-husband on, I think it was the day after we made the decision we were going to get divorced. And it happened, just to give you context, I was with my ex-husband for 13 years. And within a 4-day period, he told me he wanted a divorce. So it really was a wake-up call to me. And in the letter, hilariously, I wrote, I don't know what I like. I don't know what I want. I compromised everything and I lost my spirituality. And it's crazy to think that I wrote that letter 8.5 years ago. And it was a wake-up call in my mid-30s that I had everything in life you could wish for. I had fancy house. I had a very nice Alfa Romeo. I had a very nice fancy job. And I was not happy. Because all I was doing was moving towards society's idea. What I've been brought up to think is what gives happiness, which again comes to this idea that you're all taught that there is a someone to be happy. So then you go into counseling, you talk to somebody, we all talk to each other, and we communicate to say, this is my trauma. This is my parent-child relationship. I need to talk to my inner child. Other ones I've heard is you need to embed your previous memory in a different way. all of these ideas and these concepts, when you talk about this crisis moment, a trauma, something awful happening, what you're actually talking about is probably less than 1% of your life. Less than 1%. So, using the example of my ex-husband, one of the lasting memories I have of him is of conversations of his compared to 13 years. But people talk about the trauma of 4 days as if that's more important, and that's the totality of the relationship of 13 years.
Yeah, but that's because of what it creates. It creates a whole. It creates an end to something that was going on.
But that's just an opinion. It's just
Yeah,
a
of course,
thought.
of course, yeah.
It's psychology's interpretation of life.
Yeah, yeah.
Time's passage is continuous. Time is the only thing. When you spend it, you can't get it back. You spend money, money always appears. You have a cat, your cat may die. You may decide to get another cat. But once you've spent time, you can never get it back. It's the only thing that in this life is spend it well. Whatever you do, spend your time well. Because once it's gone, it's gone. But it's the same in how we talk about life now, is we talk about trauma, intolerance of people, somebody being annoying. You're talking probably about less than 1% of the time you spend with them. As if that's actually what matters. As if that's what they are. And it's not. You're looking at yourself in a different body with a different life experience. And it's okay to like someone. I also give you permission to dislike someone. Because it's natural. 1 minute, I want to smush Max's face so much. And other times, I just want to be in a completely different country. It's completely natural. We all have these moments where there's a like and a dislike. It's just natural, but it's not the totality of time we spend with each other. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great way to sell you a program. Let me talk about your childhood trauma. It's a great way to get counseling training, say I'm certified. I can talk about trauma. I can teach you how to change your behaviors around trauma. But at the end of the day, that's just a habit. If anybody's ever tried quitting smoking or quitting anything, there's these moments you have where you keep trying to do something to change the behavior. You never know at what moment that happens, but on one of those times you try, that's the moment it stops. You can't say when it's going to be or why it is. There is nothing magical about it. It's just that's the day that it stops.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, total tangent.
Yeah,
Tony.
I'm not sure what. Sorry, I'm not sure what you mean with what Charlie was saying, but that's sorry. My bad.
Well, it's quite different. It's sorry, I went on a tangent because of where we are as a society. Society is constantly evolving. Societal intelligence. So if you look beyond enlightenment, beyond being awake, beyond being yourself, the reason that I decided to talk is because the more people that are awake, the more peace there is in the world. Why? Because there's less need for people to argue over money, land, greed, etc. That's why I talk. However, we have a societal intelligence, and it's how we communicate with each other and how we place importance on certain things. Society has evolved at this point in time to say the self is important. Me being happy is important. That's only happened in the last 100 to 200 years. 600 years ago, I don't think anybody cared whether they felt happy or not. I don't think they cared whether they felt joy or not. I think they were farming the land, thinking about crops, maybe whether their neighbor had an affair or something like that. I don't think they were thinking, am I happy? Do I feel consciously happy? What is my experience? Do I need to travel?
No, I'm with you.
I don't think the question was raised. Why? Because that's not where society's intelligence was. We're now all obsessing about this idea of there's a me and there's a me that needs to experience. And there's a me that needs to be
So funny.
a something. This is where we are as a society. And in that, we've lost our connection to each other.
Wonderful.
That's the point.
Beautiful. Now I get you. I know, but I didn't get it. But now I get it. I'm with you. 100%. Yeah, no, I understand. I'm with you completely. That's your way of saying turning the other cheek. Thank you.
Yeah.
Charlie?
Hmm. I
Hmm.
don't really know how to put it, but I find it a bit odd how you talk about it. You know, like society, like it's been 4 days, and why is it so important? Because it's only 4 days. Okay, okay, okay. But in those days, and even after, like the pain is real, the suffering is real.
Mm.
It's what you experience, you know? And
Why is it so important?
it can be important, so it's not
Yeah.
anymore. So
Yeah,
it's not
but then
anymore.
but that's what she's saying. So it's not anymore, but it can also just not be important. Do you get the thing? Do you get the difference?
Yeah,
If it's not important, you're not focused on the suffering.
but I don't have to fight it. I can
You
just
don't
let
have
it
to.
go. I don't have to fight it. I
Yeah,
can just
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
let it
yeah,
go through me, you know?
yeah, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
there is no I actually like I feel like there is no fight. I do not fight society, I do not fight anything, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There is actually no fight. And I have like this mad belief that you talked about uh, generational trauma and such, you know, and I have that belief that everything that has to be lived will be lived, you know, at some point. So I can do my share. I can do my share,
Yeah.
you know, and when it happens, I'm always like, okay, it's tough, and it ends with me, you know, ends with me.
Yeah.
I can really undergo it.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's really okay. I'm always like, okay, it's okay, little Charlie. Everything is going to be fine. Be fine to be fine. And now it's funny because it happened so many times that you drown yourself into the drama of existence. It is so important. It is so painful, so much depression, so much despair, and so on. And then it flips. It's like, wow, that's what's happening to me. Oh, that's beautiful. You know, like it's a film, it's a movie. It's a movie. And it happened so many times now, when I'm experiencing it, the suffering and the pain or whatever, or the joy, I always remember myself, okay, I am living perfection right now. At some point, I will be like, oh, that's my way. If I had to do this again, I will do this again the same. I wouldn't change a thing because it's perfect now, so it has been perfect all along, you know? And like that, I don't know, it's like nothing can happen to you apart from life.
Mm.
And so there is no fight anymore. There is no, it's not fair. No, life mustn't be like that. No, people mustn't think racist ideas or whatever, tolerance. It's like everything will change at some point, And
100%.
I will just end with a metaphor. I I tell everyone now, like I'm what in English radical. Is it
Radical?
yeah? A radical bisounours. Bisounours.
Ah,
Aussi. No,
radical
not in
teddy
English.
bear. Teddy bear.
Ah,
Yeah, I know, like
Radical
with the
teddy bear. Yeah.
magical teddy bear. Yeah, like radical,
Mhm.
radical magical teddy bear. Like, okay, we're saying the word is like that and stuff, and it's like, no, it is perfect in its chaos, and you can live it. It's okay,
Mm.
you know.
Yeah.
And then in that sense, when if there is pain, there can be pain for real, and then it can go away. It can go away because it was really there for a moment.
Yeah.
And I think it's really
Absolutely.
important. But that's what Max, you are always saying, like no, do not flee or whatever. How you say it?
I don't say that, but I see what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, but yeah. Yeah.
the same.
Live it. Don't
Yeah,
fight.
just
Yeah,
live it.
live it. Yeah. So
Live it.
yeah, you don't have a choice anyway.
Yeah, you can say no, but won't change the thing.
Yeah, well, it's added suffering, so
Yeah.
It's- yeah. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. And I
Mm.
think it's a bit tricky even, but for me, for other, like we are often, I think, it's tough not to surrender to the fight. Like okay, no, I see something, I must act. Like
Yeah.
this is not good. This is not good. This is good. It's so spontaneous,
Yeah.
and it's like going backward, forward, uh,
Yeah.
going in a drama, then go out, and so on. The Care Bears. Oh, okay. Thank you, Evelyn. Care Bears. Okay. So it wasn't so clear, but it's a bit hard in English.
Care Bears. Do you know that?
Mhm.
Okay.
You got it? Yeah.
Ouais.
It's a TV show from when I was little.
Mm-mm.
I have an opposing opinion on that one, and it is an opinion. Because Max is right, to fight suffering, it increases suffering. If something painful is happening to you, to resist it does increase pain. I don't have a problem with having an argument with somebody. If I think there's a potential, if I talk to somebody, that they would listen and there's a potential that they would wake up.
I
But to
agree with
have
that.
that conversation would mean I would have to have an argument. I would totally have an argument. Because I think a lot of people are trapped.
Yeah.
But they're
That-
trapped in their own bullshit.
Yeah. And they can't hear until they hear.
I think there's moments that we all have where there's a potential somebody could wake up. where there's a potential where they're open to having that conversation. I know it. Converting people for me is a dirty word. Dirty word.
Converting people.
Converting people. It's a dirty word.
Mm.
Going to start a cult with orange hats. No, banana hats. We're all going to wear banana hats. Because waking up is the greatest gift. It is the greatest gift. Because being able to say, suffering is a thought. I can talk about a memory, but it's a thought. There's no attachment to it. There's no pain. Pain could be triggered, but I know it's not me. There's no attachment to it. There's no suffering with it. The ground is shifted. And trying to remember what that's like is, I don't really want to because it's boring. I think I would say it's boring to me. It doesn't mean that pain doesn't exist. If I had a hole in my tooth, it would still hurt. However, it's not something that would devour me. The mind is not devoured. Awareness is not devoured by the thought. Who you are is not devoured by the thought. You're not lost in the current of your thoughts. But for me, 15 years ago, if you'd have told me enlightenment was real, I would ask you when you were going to be checked into the mental hospital. Genuinely. But I'm 100% certain there were moments in my life before that I would have been open to that conversation, but it would have required a bit of pushing.
That's pushing.
Because this is what we're all looking for.
Yeah.
This is what everybody in the world is looking for.
Everybody thinking they're looking for something else is that they just don't realize that that's what they're looking for, because they think that what they're looking for will make them happy, will bring them fulfillment, joy, happiness, money, whatever, satisfaction. But what they are looking for is to stop looking for that, is to just be. That's just, everyone's looking for that.
All that happens is people everybody lives in static noise. I don't know how many people ever remember those old TVs with the static.
Or just like
Showing my age. There's a static, a white noise, and that's literally what the mind does all the time. It's a static white noise, and everybody in the world thinks that white noise, that static, is you. They think they are the static. They think they are the white noise.
What's the white noise?
Mm.
Oh God.
We just put a different language on it. Literally.
Mm.
Could be it. Meowing, glass breaking, whatever. It's just static noise. It's not who you are. And that's what the mind is. But awareness, which is you, is so focused on that, on the white noise, that it just continually creates more. It's a reactor constantly creating this static and noise, this conversation with the self, where you talk about the past or the future or the memory. or having this, or losing that, or being in a relationship. All of those are ideas. And all of those are attachment to an idea. As if the idea, the thought, is what's important. Moments of crisis always give anybody a moment to stop, pause, and question. It's a wonderful, magical moment where the mind suddenly wakes up for half a second and goes, shit, I don't think I was really thinking about what was important. Do I actually know what joy is? Or was I just doing what everybody else told me to do? Was I just repeating what my parents said would make me happy? Whereas in reality, you're just doing what your parents are telling you will make you happy because they're proud to say, my child does this. So yeah, turn the cheek. Be tolerant. Except if for me, if there's an opportunity to go fishing and pick the fish out of the river and wake them up, I'll take it.
That I'm 100% really completely. Well, you would know, yeah. It's so funny to poke people.
Oh, you're terrible for poking. He's always been like that though. Like,
Oh, yeah.
literally, the moment I met him, he would poke you.
All those ideas anyway, you know. Turning the cheek, yeah, being happy, poking, enlightenment, trauma, life. All those ideas as if there are something. As if it's important. It's funny. It's actually really funny. It's just literally just ideas. Real happiness, the catch is it cannot be caught. You are that, so you cannot, how can I say, you cannot
Create
see that,
it.
you cannot create it, exactly, yeah. You are that. So all the ideas about, yeah, being someone, happy, or, free, or rich, or whatever.
It doesn't mean that a natural preference doesn't exist.
Oh, completely, yeah, it does. I like that English. Natural preference.
There's a natural preference, and there are also circumstances. There's an Irish phrase I love. Your health is your wealth. My mum had a climbing accident 30 years ago, 31 years ago. My mum had a climbing accident 31 years ago. After that, she is permanently in a wheelchair. For a long time, she couldn't talk about it. And for a number of years, she would do absolutely insane things to try and walk. I'm talking about attempting to use a Zimmer frame and to use her body weight to physically throw her leg forward. So she would do anything to try and walk again. But she was never, ever, and I'm not sure she ever has been grateful for the fact that she was still able to use her arms. Her climbing accident was so horrific, there was a chance she would die. And there was also a very strong chance she would have been tetraplegic. So she wouldn't have been able to move from the neck down. So in all of those instances, it's a miracle that she's still alive and that she can use her arms. But never once has she said that she's grateful for that. We all have suffering. And that's where the mind can focus, talking about trauma. I was in a shitty marriage. I was in, my girlfriend cheated on me. But you can also be grateful for love. And this is where I think habitually the mind doesn't focus on. And whereas a society, so talking about societal intelligence again, society at this point in time focuses on the negative. That's where we want to spend time, energy, conversation. It's focusing on the negative. How many people do you have a positive conversation with in a day? I want to talk about love. How many times a day do people talk? I just want to talk about love.
I want to make it.
How many times do you pick up?
Should I make
I
it?
don't know.
I don't want to talk about it. Sorry.
I can grab cooking it.
I'll go. No, she's gonna. No, it's
I
too
should like
hot.
this. So, how many times? I don't know if any of you have pets. Oh yeah, she's pissed.
She's pissed. She's pissed.
So we have 4 cats. She's
the grumpy one.
she's the person cat. So if anybody ever comes here,
She loves people,
she loves people.
but she doesn't have to be in your arms.
No. But if you sleep with your door open, she will come and sleep on the bed with you all night. She is a snuggle bum. How many times do people talk about love?
Let's make it.
We don't talk about the joy. So how do you spread joy if you don't talk about it? One of my favorite things is digging in earth. How often do people walk in the dirt? Put your feet in the grass.
One of my favorite things is to poke people, to spend time with people, to poke them, to annoy them, and say like, "Wake up!" I love it. I love it. I could do it night and day. It's fantastic.
What do you do that you love? What brings you joy? What triggers joy? How much time do you spend thinking about it? And then how much time do you spend doing it?
So like talking about joy
Or
and
thinking about
and
it.
being joy. So this is it's the same. And so there's the same with love. So there's talking about love, and then there's making it, right?
One track mind at the moment, if you can't tell.
Right, good point.
When Max and I met, the first day we met, I learned. It took me a while. I learned to appreciate a French lunch.
Oh, do you mean like not a sandwich eaten in 5 minutes?
Yeah, no, like when I walked the Camino, Chemin de Saint-Jacques, my idea of lunch was to walk while eating an apple. That was lunch.
That's also life.
So first day we met, we walked together. We sat for an hour and a half, and an hour of that for an hour he was playing with 6 kittens. So he had 6 kittens running all over.
Remember that wasn't no, that's not true. It was 5 minutes.
Doesn't
But okay,
matter.
doesn't matter.
How often do we talk about those moments? How often do we seek those moments out? I don't know about anybody else. I get distracted by my to-do list all the time. So often I'm like, shit, I need to empty the dishwasher. No, now I need to do some laundry. Oh, no, I've got to go sort that out. Now I've got to go fix something in the garden. Yesterday, our polytunnel flew half a kilometer into the farmer's
Into
field.
the field because there was so much wind.
Yeah.
The polytunnel is la serre is dead.
I could talk about that. I could talk about the negative. I could also talk about it was hilarious, hanging on like it was a kite and I was about to go flying into the air.
Charlie. Hey,
Yeah,
Charlie.
I had a thought about something like that. You know, like this movement to share. Like when you're joyful, it's easy. It goes with it. So like you experience joy, you wanna share it. It's easy. That's the easy part, you know. And of course, you can nurture it. You can like think about joy more and more and more and more. It's what I do in my life since several months now. So yes, it's good. But I was wondering, you know, could we also not like celebrate the rest of it together, you know? Because when it was hot for me in the past, I was going in my cave, you know, all alone, and when I'm ready, I come out, you know. And now it's more like, oh, it's hard for me. I need someone, you know. I need just someone to hug me and to tell me it's okay. It will be fine, you know. And it's so nice. And I find it also it's also the movement of love in that. And I was wondering also, could we not? And I really think we can. So I think I will experience it at some point. Could we experience like sadness when it's shared, you know, together, or pain together when it's here, you know, and also celebrate it. It's my wish. It's my wish. It will happen soon, I guess. You know,
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that's your joy.
There is.
Yeah. Yeah.
In that there is joy, yeah.
There's beauty.
Absolutely.
There's beauty in sadness.
Totally.
There's beauty in it.
Yeah. You know, and you recognize the feeling as a beautiful thing, even when it's anger, like you say, okay, thank you, anger, you are here because I needed you to say stop to something, you know. It's always joyful in a sense. Sorry, I was.
Yeah.
I think to try and separate, to stop negative experiences, is to try and force again life to be one thing. But I found, well, maybe it's just my family. My family focus 90% of their time on negative things. Not my point.
Oh.
Not my point. But I find people don't talk about things they find joyful. They will have a surface level conversation of, I'm going to a restaurant, I'm going for a walk, I'm going on a holiday. But that's the surface. We're not talking about joy.
No, I really like what you're saying. I agree.
We're not talking about Charlie's sadness. Without sadness, without that moment in the cave, you don't have that moment of longing for physical touch or to connect with another, which is beautiful. It's a yin yang. Without one, we don't have the other. But we can go to a deeper level and talk about the trauma, pain, this was caused. but you don't talk about the experience of the emotion of the sadness.
Mm. Mm.
And that is beautiful.
Bravo. Mavi.
Use example of Marvel, our cat.
Mavi.
When we got him, half the time he would drive me insane by clawing my leg. I still have scars from him scratching me. But he was so cute at the same time.
That's him.
He's just adorable. And literally, he still sleeps between us
Yeah, every night.
every night. No idea why. But it's adorable. But we don't talk about the beauty of this. Is we'll focus on, we had a one-to-one weekend. A certain conversation was had. We ate this for food. You won't talk about the experiential experience of life itself.
That's what I want
We're
to
not
do all the time.
We're not the
but you
body.
can.
We're not the mind. We can,
But
but
you
people
can.
don't.
No?
Yes,
Okay. You mean like other people?
exactly. Do you talk about that?
I try to, yes. I mean,
Wonderful.
I
I
don't
love
try.
that.
I don't try to. I do actually.
That's
It was funny
beautiful.
because in a
Beautiful.
formation, no formation. In a work internship, no.
Internship.
Internship.
Stage.
Stage.
Yeah, stage.
Internship.
In a work course or whatever. It was about communication, and we were exchanging with other students, and I was telling the others how I see the world. And I was like, oh, love and all blah 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 blah, because it's just how I see it. And then the teacher was like, yes, that's it. It's the regard positif inconditionnel, unconditional positive look, you know? It was like, yes, that's it, Charlie, you know? Like with my words, it was like just to accept the other and think that it can be the best, you know? And it was funny because I was just sharing something that I found like out of place. Like, you know, I would be again the weird guy, but it was like, no, it's the subject. Yes. Just accept the other. Okay, cool. When you do it, it works. You know, people are eager to actually.
Yeah.
Just have to
I
spark
I
it.
think I think it's a very, very good point. And as far as I'm concerned, my whole life I've been focusing on the negative, taking joy in talking about the negative. You know?
Yeah.
Like real actual joy, you know? But then it's so all I meant to do was to, like Amy said, share the not feeling, but what's behind the what gives you joy, or what or joy being a very, very generic term here. But yeah, it's like that. It's just like it's so freaking enjoyable. I don't know if you can hear, he's purring. He's not moving from my arm. My arm is aching because he's becoming a heavy fucker. It's amazing. Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, I think it's just wonderful to just talk about or share or
But
share the joy. That's the joy, the love,
I do think it's rare.
and honestly, fuck the rest. No, honestly, not fuck the rest. I don't know. I don't mean, you know. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Because I don't know if you know what I mean, but I know what I mean.
But Charlie, what you said is beautiful.
Oh yeah, I
For
fucking love
me,
it.
that's rare.
It's wonderful.
right.
It's wonderful, buddy. Wonderful.
Mm.
Come here. We'll share the joy. Come you Van here. We'll have fun.
Yeah. I must come one day. Most
Yeah,
common
that would
name.
be nice. That would be nice. Honestly, that would be nice. That would be really nice, buddy. Yeah.
We'll make a kite out of my polytunnel.
Mhm.
Fly away.
Mm.
Actually, it's pretty
Beautiful.
simple
It's
sometimes. You know, when
sorry.
in the smartphone, like with the emoticons, I'm all about like little rainbows and little hearts and sparks, and actually it's so simple, you know,
Oh,
joy to just be
you really are
lovable,
trying the unicorn.
not to be lovable, but yeah, just like
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's a pleasure actually, you know. It's just like yeah, just yeah,
It is.
something very very simple.
Mm,
It is.
right. Even when you talk about sadness, so right before I have my period or when I have my period, I can never remember. I always have this moment where I need to cry. So I'll watch a sad movie to make me cry. And I just enjoy it, the whole process. I'll sit, blanket, hot water bottle, and I just enjoy crying.
And every month, that's how I gotta say it. Every month.
What?
Every month. Like honestly, like it's like you go nuts. I don't understand. Like what you're like your mood swings. I'm like, oh, but and each time you end up I mean I'm such an idiot. Like it's funny. No, really, it's funny how I can be because you mean you would know it's that, but it's like it doesn't even cross my mind. And she tells me, Max, it's the time of the month. I'm like, oh, each month. Each month. Like, oh, fuck. Anyway, it's beautiful. Yeah.
That's the time of the month I want to live in a different country.
Mm.
But it's beautiful to enjoy those moments.
Yeah.
It's life. If we only ever had joy, nobody would want it. Nobody would appreciate it. This is just my opinion. If life was just pure ecstatic happiness constantly.
No, that's not true what you're saying. I don't agree. Because if it was, then it would be. That's it. Does I mean if it was true pure joy,
Would
then
you
it's pure.
appreciate it?
Well, that's the thing. It is pure joy. If you don't appreciate it, then it's not pure joy.
But
If
you're
you,
talking two different things.
am I?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Because the idea of being grateful is an idea. It's an opinion. To be grateful.
Yeah. Oh,
To
okay, get you.
appreciate.
Yeah. Okay.
But joy itself, if that was all that life ever was, ever experienced, could you see it as joy? Could you see there was anything specific with it? Could you laugh? But again, that's an opinion. That's just an opinion.
No, I'm not sure. If there was all joy, then there would be all joy. That's it. There's no other way. It's not all joy. It's
You are joy.
exactly, yeah, absolutely.
But the body and mind, we're not separate from the body and the mind. And attachment is natural. Attachment to a parent. If a parent dies, there is sadness, there is grief. That sadness is experienced. It's not you, but sadness is experienced because attachment was there. Because you were triggered, love was triggered. There are thoughts and memories. The person, the body, has gone. There will be no more new experiences. But without that experience, would you really find true happiness from that knowledge of that person.
Yeah, get you.
But again, that's just an opinion. It's not truth. And that's when you know the self, you know you. The difference between the mind and the body is clear. There's no separation between any of it. But you know what's you and what's not. And you know the expressions of the mind is purely opinion. How I talk about self, you, me, love, joy, awareness, nothing, all of those are opinions from my mind in how I talk of it. It's no separation there. It is me. But it's how my body and mind expresses me. And the experience of life is not separate to that. It is just life. Simply as it is. Now. Not in the future, not in the past, not in my memories, not in my thoughts. It's now. Only ever now. But I do think without the sadness, and I do think there's joy in sadness.
Right.
There's joy in anger. Pure ferocity of anger. Pity, compassion, joy, happiness, envy, desire. All of those are a rainbow of life. I'm going to steal your rainbow, Charlie. It's a rainbow. It's a complete rainbow. And I certainly have a gratitude for that rainbow because it brings color to life.
Wonderful. It's trying to catch me. You bite my finger. That's it. Bite my finger. Good.
I'm a strong believer in something called the cat distribution system. If you do not have a cat, at some point, a cat will find you. The problem is once you find one cat, though, the cat distribution tends to
continue.
Continue.
But now we stop. We stop. 4 is enough.
Are there any questions?
No questions? Things to add? Stories to tell?
Joy to share.
Joy to share.
Do we bring it to a close?
So we leave it at that?
I'll add one thing. Today was the first time I tried the Haribo marshmallows with the chocolate over the top. Oh my God, they're so good. How did I not know those?
They are good.
Delicious. There we go. That was my random joy for today.
Thank you for coming, people. It's really lovely to have you here.
Thank you, guys.
On Wednesday in French, and as usual, 8:30. One-to-one's available. to share the joy, you know.
Or indulge Max so he can poke you.
And yeah,
Wow. Thank you all for
thank
coming.
you, everyone.
Lovely to see you all.
Have a lovely Sunday. All right. Love you all. Bye, guys. All right.
Bye bye.
Bye, Charlie.
All